Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. I am Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. This morning on the show, we will be joined by Brendan Walsh. Taped him yesterday. As we said at the end of the Handicappers Report, he has Maxfield in later this afternoon at Fairgrounds. Really looking forward to that. I mean, Maxfield 3 for 3 so far has shown a lot of promise. So we talked a little Maxfield with Brendan, and he's got runners in some of the others. And then he had some maiden as well. So we hit on all of that with Brendan. That's coming up in a couple. Bottom of the show, I'm going to just quickly toss out. We'll have a couple of minutes left at bottom of the hour, really, because it's an abbreviated edition of Racing Across America today, so we can get to the NYRA pregame, because with the 11:50 post time today at Aqueduct, they'll start the pregame a little bit early. So I mentioned earlier also, today there's two mandatories that are worth noting. Gulfstream Park, mandatory Rainbow Six. There's $800,000 in the pool. They will balloon that up. You'll want to jump in and play the Rainbow today at Gulfstream. But tonight on the Sun, even if you aren't a sulky guy, take a look. Pull up the free PPs on capitalotbbet.com. I have mine right here. Woodbine Mohawk tonight. There's a mandatory pay in their super high five in race 11. Goes off a little after 11 o'clock tonight. Increment, the first five finishers, but they have $330,000 in the pool. And so keep that in mind as well for tonight. And I may toss out a little ticket if we have some time just towards the end of the program for that. All right, but Brendan Walsh, as I say, I talked to him yesterday. We talked a little Maxfield and much, much more. So up next, it is trainer Brendan Walsh. She has Maxfield on the comeback trail Saturday afternoon down at the Fairgrounds, and some other stakes performers as well. Brendan, good morning.
Good morning, Seth.
Happy to have you on board to talk a little bit about, as I say, Maxfield and some of the others. But before we get into that, I'm just curious. I've been asking people, obviously, over the past few months, but we're at a period now where some of the fall meets have ended and the winter meets are opening up. And I know you've had horses move from Churchill to Fairgrounds. I'm just wondering, the situation with the virus and whatnot, has that complicated things as far as moving staff and horses?
It's not been too bad, to be honest. I mean, the tracks have made it as easy as possible. Especially at the Fairgrounds, they've been providing tests at the Fairgrounds themselves free of charge, which is a big help, rather than trying to haul everybody off for tests and that. But yeah, that's made it easier. I mean, everybody's kind of holding off on letting people into the tracks and stuff like that. But that's to be understood. They've got to do what they've got to do. But look, sure, we've been through it all year, so it's just a question of just keeping going, and hopefully things will open up here in another few months with any luck at all.
Yeah, I'm right with you. This vaccine, hopefully we're back to normal sooner rather than later, certainly. But I've said it right along. And I'll ask you, being somebody on the backside and at the track most every day, from my viewpoint, watching and handicapping and whatnot, I've said for the past few months, I think horse racing overall has done a great job during this period. When you compare it to pro and college football and basketball, where we've seen some starts and stops. Some of that has happened in racing, but overall, racing's done a pretty good job over the past 6 to 8 months.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been very tough,
Sure.
On everybody, especially with people and staff and everything, and just trying to keep a track of it all. But I think they've done a hell of a job. And, it's like anything, we get used to it as we go along, and we have done, and we've adjusted to what we've had to do, and it's great that it's been able to keep going, probably better than any other sport in the country.
Yeah, I agree, and as I say, knock on wood, we're sooner rather than later back to a little bit of normalcy, but been doing a good job so far. All right, let's get to Saturday afternoon, and let's start with the big horse and kind of work our way back a little bit. But the Tenacious on Saturday afternoon features the comeback of Maxfield. We're going to take a look at the Matt win back on May 23rd. We're going to look at the stretch run here. Maxfield's going to be the number 10 horse. Nice late run to get up to win that, to run the record to 3 for 3. Talk a little bit about Maxfield and the career so far, the starts and stops, but more importantly, how's he now coming into this, again, second comeback attempt on Saturday?
He's been doing great, Seth, thank God. You know, ever since the injury, he had a surgery and that all went well and it got cleared up well. And, you know, we gave him the time off that was required, but he seemed to sail through it pretty good, all of it. And since he's come back, he hasn't really missed a beat. I mean, you know, this was the first race we had in mind if, you know, if everything went smoothly, and really he hasn't put a foot wrong in his comeback. So you know, he's coming into it, I think, as ready as he can be. With, you know, he'll obviously improve a little bit from having a run off, a lay off like all horses do. But you know, I think he's about as ready as we can have him for this kind of a race right now.
Late in the 3-year-old season, have you seen, off the little bit of a break and now in the mornings prepping for the comeback, have you seen some added maturity?
Absolutely, yeah, especially physically. I mean, he's even a much bigger horse now than what he was in May when he ran in the Matt win. It's taken him a while, but he's nearly there now physically, and he's just turned into a big, beautiful physical. So, you know, all that's went well, and you know, I think he's there now. So hopefully we get a smooth run over the next while, and we can get the best out of it.
I'm always curious with horses like this that are clearly talented in the afternoon. Now 3 for 3 and a couple of stakes wins on the resume. Was that evident as soon as you got him in the barn? I'm always curious. It seems like some horses maybe in the morning don't show it as much, and then they blossom in the afternoon. But some are stars right when they show up in the barn. What was Maxfield like when he showed up at your barn?
We always thought he was a pretty talented horse. We were surprised when he did hit the racetrack that he did what he did, because as we just spoke about, you know, he was physically immature, and to do what he did at 2 was quite amazing, to say the least. You know, I thought he'd break his maiden and maybe run in something like the Jockey Club, and then we put him on the Derby trail, but he proved he was a little better than that. So that was nice. And ever since he's gotten stronger physically, he's just gotten better and better in his work. You know, he's not a killer workhorse, but on the same hand, he works pretty well. So, you know, he's given us all the indications that he's as good as ever. Yeah,
it looks like, looking at the DRF page here, the 2 workouts down at the Fairgrounds have been very nice. So it seems like he's taken to the surface down there as well.
Yeah, no, I think he has, Seth, and he seems to like this long straight here. It gives a nice horse, a big horse like him, a good chance to get balanced and get rolling. So I think that he should like the track. But I mean, he seems adaptable. You know, he's won on Churchill and Keeneland, and he trained in Palm Meadows. He's obviously been training here, so he seems to work good and run well wherever we've asked him to.
What are your expectations for Saturday afternoon?
You know, I just want to get it over with, see what he does. You know, just have him run well and have him come out of it well. And I think he's going to take a big leap forward, further run. And, you know, just that he comes back safely and we go on from there. And he just shows us that he's as good as ever. You know, does he have to win? We like to win, but, you know, for whatever reasons, you know, he's taking on older horses, more seasoned horses. So, you know, it is going to be a good test for him, you know, as much as he looks like he's a really, really nice horse going into his 4-year-old year. There's some, you know, there's 3-4 nice horses in there that are going to pose a good test for him as well, and he's going to have to run to beat them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. He showed so much talent so far in the career. Looking forward to see how he can maybe put an exclamation point on the end of the season with the comeback, and then set himself up for, as you say, a nice 4-year-old year. So wish you a lot of luck there. But you also have some other runners coming up on Saturday in the stakes races. Go back to the Letellier Memorial, which is earlier on the card, and Moonswag, who is relatively new to your barn, and we're going to look back. And I said, we were talking in the studio earlier because I'm going to pull up the replay of Moonswag winning the Manzano Stakes race at Albuquerque Downs, and we commented, I don't think we've ever pulled up a replay from Albuquerque, a track that I will say, though, I have been to and is very scenic, the Sandia Mountains in the background, so it's a nice little track. But the first couple of starts of the career were at another barn at Albuquerque, 2 starts, 2 wins, including this win where Moonswag will make a nice move on the outside to get it done as the number 9 horse. Now that you've had him in your barn for a little while, I'm a buyer's guy, and I will admit the buyers are a little light, but this horse just seems really interesting to me at a 15-1 morning line price. What are your thoughts on Moonswag on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, said she came to us. We got her kind of October time. She didn't, for what. Yeah, it was Albuquerque, but she didn't put a foot wrong there. She's well bred. They gave a good bit of money for her, so she's got a right to be a decent horse. I mean, her figures, obviously, coming from Albuquerque, they're not going to be fantastic, but I'm saying that she hasn't done anything wrong. So hopefully she can jump up tomorrow, and I would hope she'll get, she'd get a piece of it at least.
Yeah, as I say, it looks really interesting off the 2 races at Albuquerque. 2 for 2, including a nice stakes win that we just saw there with a good run down the stretch. Moonswag, really interesting to me. And we kind of mentioned the buyers. I always ask trainers, I'm curious, do you use figures in your handicapping, and which figures do you look at?
Yeah, I mean, we do. We take a lot of figures. I use the Thorough Manager quite a bit. Obviously, everybody looks at buyers, for one reason or another. I guess they're the old go-to, and the sheets as well. But yeah, I mean, we have our own opinions as well, as everybody does. So, but we do look at them to an extent, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm always curious because picking spots, and if you get a high, do you wait a little longer and all that. A little bit later in the day, the Richard Shearer Memorial, you have Gildsman in there. I'm going to go back and pull up a replay from the Franklin Simpson Stakes at Kentucky Downs. Boy, the horses at Kentucky Downs just seem to go and do well after that. And subsequently, in the Arctic, Gildsman ran 5th up at Woodbine, but that was a salty little race. Again, I'm more looking at the Kentucky Downs race that we're going to take a look at here. Well, Gildsman will be the number 1 horse getting it done. What are your thoughts coming into the Richard Shearer on Saturday with?
He's a lovely horse, Seth. He did nothing wrong all year. He won the Grade 3 at Kentucky Downs and won us a little stake at Presque Isle as well. So, we like the horse a lot. We gave him a little break after his last run at Woodbine, and he's coming back, but just a brief break. So he should be ready for this. I think he'll like the little bit of cut in the ground tomorrow, which I think there'll be. And, he just lacks a little bit of early speed, but he should be coming running again for sure.
I see he's been working at Palm Meadows. Is he at Fairgrounds now?
He is, yeah. That was our intention, to work him on the grass at Palm Meadows a few times and then ship him over to New Orleans. So he's been here all week since his last work.
Very good. And finally, on the stakes side, let's take a look at another horse that I find very intriguing that you've entered on Saturday, Temple City Terror. And this one's intriguing because of the race we're going to take a look at here. Fairgrounds on December 3rd, so really just a couple of weeks ago. Nice win. Temple City Terror is going to be the number 5 horse, getting it done, again, in an optional claimer, non-winners of 2. So Saturday in the Blushing KD will be Temple City Terror's stakes debut. Did you come out of this and immediately think, oh, let's point to the stakes race coming up in a couple of weeks?
Well, I thought we'd have to take a look at it for sure. She's been very progressive through as long as we've had her. Improving. Came off a layoff the last day and ran really well and came out of the race good. So we thought, well, if she came out of it good, why not take a shot? So I think she seems to like this track here, and she's doing well, so why not?
Yeah, and again, we're watching the stretch run here, getting it done just a couple of weeks ago. Nice late run from this horse, who at about the 8th full, you think, oh, it doesn't stand a chance there, but she gets up and does it nicely. So again, I think she'll be interesting in a 12-1 morning line on Saturday. Brendan, before we let you go, those were your stakes runners, but always curious about the maidens, and you have some maidens coming up on Saturday as well. Freddie Flintshire, a European transplant making United States start. Anoush, Afwan. Should we be taking a closer look at your maidens on Saturday?
Yeah, I think all three of them will run well. Freddie drew a little wide, is the only drawback with him. If he can overcome that draw, he looks off of his English form like he would be live. Afwan ran really well here the last day. He ran the maiden here at the Fairgrounds and was beaten a couple of lengths by a nice horse. And he's a progressive horse, so I'm expecting him to jump up off of that run. And then Anoush was a little disappointing the last day at Churchill for whatever reason. We've got blinkers on her tomorrow. Definitely has the talent to win one of these. So I wouldn't discount her either.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Wishing you a lot of luck on a day on Saturday where, again, you have some stakes entrants that are very intriguing, those maidens that are going to be fun as well, and the comeback for Maxfield. Really looking forward to that. Brendan, again, appreciate the time. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll talk again.
Great. Thanks a million, Seth.
Appreciate it. Brendan Walsh, again, the comeback of Maxfield coming up at Fairgrounds on Saturday afternoon.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drinks, wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 70 flat screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes. It's in front, but here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral to take it to Bob. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be every horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back. And again, thanks to Brendan Walsh for joining us. We talked to him yesterday, and yeah, it's going to be fun to watch Maxfield and see what he does this afternoon in kind of prep and promise for the calendar page turning in a couple of weeks as he moves into, the handicap division as a 4-year-old. Yesterday, Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Association announced that the American Graded Stakes Committee had made their decisions for graded stakes in 2021, and Saratoga came out all right. They had 3 stakes move up the ladder. The Saratoga Oaks Invitational moved from a non-listed black type to a grade 3. The Caress at Saratoga went from a listed stake to a grade 3, but most notably, the Saratoga Derby Invitational moved from a non-listed black type to a grade 1. After really only a couple of years of running. And I pulled up this year's chart. It was won by Domestics. Gufo ran second. Decorated Invader was in there this year. Last in the field this year was Get Smokin', who came back subs next start to win that grade 2 Hill Prince. So it was a nice field this year. And again, the Derby Invitational gets moved to grade 1. The only race that was upgraded this year to a Grade 1 kind of a race. So interesting note coming out yesterday with, again, the upgrades and downgrades for the graded stakes in 2021. I mentioned it earlier. Gulfstream Rainbow carryover today, 800,000 in the pool. They will balloon that up. I'll put a little ticket together. We'll either display it during OTB Live this afternoon, or I'll have it on Twitter, or both. But I wanted to, before I did that, I wanted to see the scratches. But tonight at Woodbine Harness, their jackpot high five, race number 11 at Woodbine Harness, goes off about 11:10 tonight. The super high five. So the first 5 finishers, it's a 20-cent wager. They have a $335,000 carryover with a mandatory. So I put a little ticket together. They aren't making it easy. It's an 11-horse field. But I put it together a $28 and change ticket just to have a pop. And I kind of have to be right in the top 2 positions. And then I kind of have to be right overall, because it's the top 5, and I'm 6 deep in those underneath positions. So I really only have a little bit of breathing room. But we'll see. As I say, it's only a little bit of a ticket there. But the number 3, Rootin' Tootin', comes in off, I think, some good efforts. The 1-2 back for Rootin' Tootin' was the one that kind of jumped out at me. Left from the 7 post that day and got up to run second in a really good time. Last time was a close-up 5th. But as I say, I'm looking more at the race 2 back. Rockin' in Heaven. Good second last time. If we get a repeat of that, I think the horse is tough, but was in against a little bit lesser. So the 5, I threw the 5 in, but I'm a little bit, the horse I kind of like is Tiger's Way. But 20 starts this year, doesn't have a win. Did lead from the 7 back and ran a good second. A repeat of that effort will put this horse right in the thick of things, maybe at a little bit of a price. So the 6 also in the mix. So I have the 3 and the 6 over the 3 fix. So I'm hoping that I had a good opinion on my top 3, that we get the exacta finish with a couple of those horses finishing in the top 2. And then I spread out a little bit. As I say, you're picking the top 5 horses, and I'm only 6 deep in those next 3 spots. So I don't have a lot of wiggle room here. But again, it's a fairly modest little ticket at $28 and change. Playing into a mandate will, again, attract a lot of attention this evening at Woodbine Harness. So again, that's a little bit later on. Race 11 at Woodbine Harness, going off a little 11 o'clock. But earlier than that, you will have your chance at a ginormous pool, I would assume, at Gulfstream with the Rainbow 6. And as I say, as we get into OTB Live, we'll toss out some ideas there, and I get a chance to look at scratches and whatnot. And we talked a little bit about it on the Handicappers Report earlier, and I have a ticket that I have formulated, but depending on, if I get one of mine scratched out or not, I can maybe juggle it around and play around with the ticket a little bit. So I just did want to look at the scratches first. So we'll play around with that a little bit and talk about that as the afternoon progresses on OTB Live. We will be back with OTB Live in a little over an hour or so. I'm going to step back now because it looks like they are going to kick off the pregame show down at Naira. We want to get you to that. Anthony Stabile and Andy Serling giving some ideas on the really nice Aqueduct card for today. So an abbreviated edition of Racing Across America. Appreciate your tuning in. Thanks again to Brendan Walsh for the visit. I'm going to wrap things up on this Saturday morning edition of Racing Across America. But again, be back in a little over an hour or so with OTB Live for a Saturday afternoon. We will see you then.
You're watching BTB, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.